Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us and welcome to day 3 of Giant Health. I don't know about you, I'm quite exhausted. Barry, are you tired? Barry, you've got lots of energy. I'm too old for this kind of thing. Anyway, as you know, this morning we had Vince Cable on the main stage speaking about health, mental health. And today we're going to have 4 more speakers from around the world talking about their personal journeys into health, innovation, tech, and really trying to mobilize the kind of support required to move health into the modern ages. So our next speaker is Lorena, who's a good friend of mine. Lorena I've known for a while on the conference circuit, as we call it. So I go around the world at various conferences. I meet Lorena all the time at various places. She's from Romania, Bucharest, also lives here. And what she's done, I think, uniquely is harnessed a lot of good energy around innovation in Central and Eastern Europe. So if you get a chance next year, she runs a conference called the Ice Fest. We've got a whole lot of Romanians here, so welcome from all of us. And she runs a conference that really redefines where Eastern Europe's going to become. Eastern Europe, for all of us, is going to be a real hub of innovation. People think the US, Silicon Valley, it's all good. UK, great. Eastern Europe is fantastic. Lots of innovation going on, lots of money being poured in, lots of opportunities, because it's a fertile ground for all of us. So I suggest all of you go there next year to IceFest or Webbit or wherever you want to go to these conferences. Lorena's, I think, got an interesting journey to speak to us, and she gave a TED talk only a couple of weeks ago in Prague. Was it Prague? About this kind of topic. So she's well rehearsed, and hopefully it will inspire all of us in terms of what's possible and what's impossible.
I was very flattered and surprised when Shafi asked me to speak on this stage in particular. I don't bring my personal journey in my talks usually, so that's a first for me. I really struggled putting together the presentation, so I'm actually going to finish it right here and now. These are my contacts, and if you're on social media, I recommend you to use some of the hashtags throughout the presentation. As Shafi told you already, I see health is the healthcare innovation streams of a bigger event, ICE Fest, that is running in Bucharest, Romania, and I'm taking the opportunity to invite you all there. Next year is going to be June 14th to 15th. I am most known for that particular thing, for ICE Health, but I'm also doing bits and bobs. I'm doing consultancy, advisory, I'm mentoring startups. I'm also writing up my PhD thesis. I'm struggling with that actually with the University of Nottingham. I'm doing too many things in fact, and this is an opportunity for me as well to think about what I have done until now and see what's next. I actually get these two questions quite often. Why am I into digital health, and why Romania? So I'm going to start with the first one. Why am I doing digital health? I would like to have a better story to that. It's actually a lot of serendipity in how I got to do what I'm doing right now. I could say that, I was actually a very sick child. I spent a lot of time, in doctor's offices, and I actually spent some time on my own without my parents in hospital because I was only 10, but that's really not the reason I'm doing digital health. More, the beginning actually is the fact that I studied psychology and I really wanted to work with autistic children. And my interest was in using arts or science and technology as a mediator to communicate and enhance the connections with them. That didn't really work out as a plan for my life, but what stuck was my belief that art, science, and technology can enhance our well-being generally. Instead of working with autistic children, I got into IT. So I worked a lot with very big companies like Oracle, Belkin, General Electric. There was a time in my life, a few years, when I accumulated so much knowledge, like financials, accounting, regulatory things, but also medical devices, databases, SQL, HTML. I was like a sponge, really. And during that time, I also did an advertising master's, and my dissertation was on gamification in advertising and the role of how can you create experiences and employ seduction for branding in the digital world. So everything became pretty much digital at that point in my life. I also went for an MBA, and often we were told that it's very important that we network. You know, networking. It was often called throughout our classes. And as a former graduate of psychology, I was like, really, like get to know lots of people instead of a few, but you know, like know them really well and how they feel. But I did get to network a lot. In fact, as you can see right here, when I was in Prague with my Rochester Institute of Technology colleagues. But I also had a few of international assignments while I lived in Prague. Probably the most important one was working for Deloitte's Global IT department. Our team was spread throughout three continents. And very early on I realized that in widespread and very diverse teams, the first thing you needed to do actually was network, know the ground, know your team to be able to get things done. But after accumulating, knowledge and IT knowledge, I really found myself at a point where I was wondering if I really have, you know, a drive in what I'm doing. I knew a lot of things. I was juggling about trades, as I am still, but I really didn't find something to attach to in a way. So that's why when I saw multidisciplinary PhD at the University of Nottingham was one of the 5 national centers to look into digital economy, I was very excited. First of all, I would be like officially multidisciplinary. And then it was an opportunity, it was a program focused to bringing research to the industries, and it was a very good mix I found for myself. So I went there, I got accepted, and I only wanted to do healthcare. That was like a few years ago. I was the first one to go for healthcare inside the institute. And I got a bit of, you know, like pushback in a way. I did get through, but also in 2011, it was like once upon a time in digital health. So I really had to work hard, like getting back to the MBA advice, networking. So I went to a lot of conferences. I presented 3 times at Stanford Medicine X, my research, and this is just an extreme case of networking. It was still difficult, though, for me to enroll opinion leaders for my research and startups. So I realized, you know, going back to my advertising dissertation, I realized that I needed to be present online, to be fun, to build, you know, to have brand myself in a way, to get the attention and to get people to actually join my research. So I wrote quite a few articles, some of them on Innovate MedTech. You find on Mayo Clinic Innovation and other platforms. One of the articles, The Curious Case of Digital Health, was also taken by Digital Catapult and put into an infograph. So that played out well. And this is, if you want, the 4th serendipity ingredient of my journey. And then this happened. I found ICE Fest through social media. Actually, I found about ICE Fest that is going on in that happens in Bucharest. I was really excited, and also I used social media to get in touch with Dragos, the founder of the fest. What's great about ICE Fest is that it has quite a few content streams. So it's a great opportunity to network and gather knowledge from other industry as well, to create, cross-pollinate if you want. As you can see, this year we had quite a few streams, but the healthcare one is the only one with its own branding, because that's how it was thought through. It's more of a niche market, and we need to create more awareness into this particular industry. It's also a great experience throughout, as we have also an evening agenda. We have, we play hard, so it's a great experience. And then this happened, if you don't mind playing the video. By that date, I was preparing for the first session, for the first IC Health. And I was really excited. I had great support from people abroad. I had a good lineup of speakers. Then what you just saw, it was the biggest tragedy in Romania's recent history. There was a big fire at that club, Collective. This is a club where I went, many of my friends went. Two of my friends were there the night of October 30. One of them is recovering well after the event. Basically 65 young people died during that night. There were over 100 people wounded. I don't know the exact number of the wounded. 27 of them died at that time, in the night. Soon after that, not only the government fell, but following some journalistic investigations, and this one actually made it in major papers throughout the world, the health ministry also fell, and many things related to Romanian healthcare system kind of came to light. The investigations were led by Cătălin Tolontan and his team, and they are actually running a sports gazette, which is very interesting how things came around. This is Cătălin Tolontan, the journalist who, it was a full house during the first ICA Health. Then I realized I needed to be more educated in what was going on in Romania, and this is one sad fact right here. Only 50% of the children diagnosed with cancer in Romania survive, compared to 80% throughout Europe. Romania is considered to have one of, if not the last, healthcare system in, throughout Europe, the entire Europe. And that's why, when I started to, after what happened in Collective, many investigations, and when I was meeting people in Romania to tell them about the event and try to get their attention, I cannot count the number of times when I got pushbacks, and this is not gonna happen, this is not possible. I got the looks like, E.T. go home. What are you talking about? Can't you see what's going on? So I have to be very thankful for some of the people that were close to me throughout the time, starting with Dragoș, the founder, who was excited from the very beginning, Rosalina Lepădațu, who is doing a great work with patients in Romania, and Lucian, amongst others. So basically for me, why I'm doing what I'm doing in Romania, it really became a different game for me, from the initial plan. It was really exciting. It was a nice and cool thing to do inside the IC Fest. It became, in my opinion, very relevant. It needed to happen. We all needed it. Not only because innovation is the growth engine of our economy, but it's the health check of this democracy itself. So yeah, changing healthcare is difficult. Changing healthcare in Romania, it might not be that difficult after all. So this was my double moonshot. I think we are on the track. This is what happened. I mean, you can see people are quite happy. This is a picture from this year's ICFest. We got a lot of attention. Many people are taking part in this picture. You can maybe recognize Nick Atkins, Eugene Borukovic, some of the world influencers in this space. But there is also a former Ministry of Health. There are many local innovators and stakeholders. And the session for Romania, it was like an unconference session on how can we reinvent healthcare in Romania. As you can see, it has pink socks, it's more relaxed, more cheerful, and more engaging than the first year. We, inside the festival, we account already in the second year for about 15% of the passes, which are about 4,000 for the entire festival. In media, we get coverage with the healthcare side, like a third of the entire festival coverage, which is really good. And we have a good representation of stakeholders in our events. When I started preparing, taking away the events that happened in 2015, I knew that there is innovation in Romania because this is Myra Rehab, which is very active in the UK now. It has a lot of engagements inside the NHS, and this is a Romanian company, was part of my research. And this is Skin Vision, also born in Romania. This is the second app that was certified in Europe for medical use. This is Antiteam, who last year won the Microsoft Imaging Cup with an absolutely amazing device for ENT. And in this picture, the guy with the jacket is Daniel Rosner, who himself is like an engine of innovation, really, in Romania. A brilliant guy. And this is another example, Atlas.ro, excellent startup. And we also in Romania, we had the first exit in the wearables industry. This happened beginning of this year, January, if I'm not mistaken. Vector was taken over by Fitbit, and Fitbit opened a development center in Bucharest. But I know also there is a lot of innovation, as Shafi already said, in Central Eastern Europe, and I'm going to give you a couple more examples. This is Bellabit, another wearable company that is going more like fashion, the intersection of fashion and health. This is eyewear from Bulgaria, wearable, that brings the sun to you. You can wear the sun, basically. And this is a company in Estonia. You may know that Tallinn is considered one of the hotbeds of digital health innovation in Europe. And this is a very interesting startup that is using vibroacoustic therapy to alleviate different conditions. But really, this was my journey, and I think what I would like you to take away with you from what I have told you are these 4 points. What did influencers ever do for us? I was getting these questions when I was doing my research, in particular when I was talking with opinion leaders. Well, they do quite a lot actually, because they coagulate groups of innovators, if you want, the rebels. They set the tone of a conversation, they point to the future. It's not only, people who are changing mindsets, people who are changing, if you want, the culture of healthcare. But it's not only the opinion leaders, there are different forms of institutional entrepreneurship, which means like trying to change the institution itself of healthcare, trying to change the culture. There are different levels, and you being here, you are also doing that right now, right here. I mentioned we have a lot of people who are doing great work, and I'm very grateful for their support throughout running IC Health. I mentioned already Eugen Burukovic, Aline Noazet right now. I also get a lot of support from John Nosta. I get a lot of inspiration from Susanna Fox. So many people who shaped me and were really with me through my journey. And you know Shafi? Yeah, yeah. This is just a few months ago in Bucharest, and now I have a surprise for Shafi. This is what happened 2 days ago in Romania. It's the second live broadcasted 360 brain surgery in the world, just 2 months away from the first one, which happened, where do you think? In London. So that's how you know that Shafi, Shafi was clearly in Bucharest. I mean, you see this and you know Shafi was there. So this is how people, how influence, how change happens. And as I said, these are my friends from Romania, and they will make change when they go back. We are all working, we are all together. And then all included. That's we actually ran the IC Health this year, and this Atos, everyone included. Michael is familiar with from Stanford Medicine X, and particularly in the Romanian session, the aim was only one: to prove that there is value in listening and coming together, different stakeholders, and to send the message that IC Health is open to all that have something to teach and something to learn. We also had a senator at the opening of the festival, and again, this is how change, kind of happens. A month ago, we had the first health hackathon in Romania, which is the biggest one in Central and Eastern Europe. And my fellow juries in the middle is Dr. Diana Păun, who is the Presidential Counselor for Public Health. And my point is that we need to connect, and we need to learn a lot in this space. And the connections we need to make is not just amongst us. We don't have to be shy to connect upwards, to talk with decision makers, engage them, let them know us, explain them what we need, and you may be surprised. Sorry, this is a new breed of specialists coming out. This is a quote from Deborah Kirk, CEO of Evidation Health, back in 2015. Another important point is that all these technologies and the rapid change that we see, we talk a lot about artificial intelligence, we talk about big data. I mean, these are going to change a lot. Also, the way we run research, the way we provide healthcare, so many things. So keep that in mind, that multidisciplinary is really important. We actually arrived at the time when multi-asking is really a strategic advantage. That's why, this is one of the values that I see in ICFS, because it brings together a few industries and people can, connect across them. The future of health in Europe. So first, I think we should all forget about what's going to happen in 5-10 years and things like that. We all know these technologies are going to evolve. The thing is, sadly, there is very little understanding of how little understanding there is. And that's why we see unicorns falling, on the range of a few months. We have Theranos, and now we have, Outcomes Health, that is not doing very well after being the unicorn in funding of 2017. So there is a lot of learning out there, and that's why events like that are really, really important, and making connections throughout the industry. Yes, all of these technologies will have impact. We'll have virtual reality, augmented reality, and so forth. Also, another thing that I think is going to play a major role is distributed manufacturing, and UK is leading in projects in distributed manufacturing, and this is kind of an advantage right here in the UK. And then, not last, the question remains, there are many players and the roles are changing in terms of power, if you want. There are new shufflings in the field, you know, in the influence that different players will have on how things are going to evolve in healthcare. This is the most regulated field of all. It's very complicated because of the number of healthcare is very complicated because of the human, you know, the impact on human life. And the ingredients really to success, it doesn't matter if you're a public company or a public project or a private company. I mean, these ingredients, these boxes you'll have to check at some point in your evolution. It just depends, you know, on the degree you will need all of these elements to succeed. There are many logics in place right now and many things are evolving. Where are we going in Europe? One thing is certain, the regulators, if you want, the policy makers are going to pay more and more attention to using technology in digital health. This is a declaration that came out at Tallinn just a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or something like that, which is called the Digital Health Society Declaration. It sets the tone, it sets an agenda. We all know Estonia is leading in digital government, but they also want to set an agenda for digital health. It aligns with, you know, Horizon 2020 and so on. But for sure, the next countries that are going to lead EU are going to push for that. And whilst, you know, we have the Brexit, I mean, we are still in Europe and we are still together. So this is not gonna make a major difference for the UK in the time to come. The fact that you see a lot of push for digitalization in Central and Eastern Europe is because they also, the countries there recognize the potential that they have. There are already 4 unicorns coming out from Central and Eastern Europe. And as you can see, only over the course of a year, the investments doubled. Not only the VC investments doubled, but there are many angel investors right now active in Central and Eastern Europe. And as I said, there are quite a few really, really interesting startups in healthcare as we speak. And what really matters, how digital health is going to evolve in Europe, that's pretty much the answer. I mean, how do you connect? How do you make connections? How do you learn? How do you benefit and try to engage with all this innovation across the space? It is relevant because you will see a lot of duplication and so on in the field. I think it's smart to try not to duplicate so much, to try to integrate other, you know, expertise, knowledge, and or solutions. And last, you know, my story, it's not perfect. I know I've made mistakes. I know I could have done so much better in many ways. I know I could have done better for other people and for myself. But you know, doing what I've done in Romania, it speaks to one thing that, you know, even if it seems very, very difficult, you know, things are possible. And I got so much, you know, as I said, I got a lot of pushback. But what do you do when you get things like that? You know, you rely on your tribe, on your friends. I got a lot of support. As I said, I very rarely state any of my opinions during my talks, and I'm actually going to do that right here and now. I believe that there is so much at the intersection of art, technology, and healthcare, so much that we will explore in the years to come. And thank you so much, Shafi, for making it a point at this event. And again, this is, in fact, it's not even my story, because as I said, there were so many people that were on my side. Over this year, I got so much support. I'm very, very grateful. And actually, yeah, Michael changed Romania, and you will hear Shafi changed from, you know, already he had such a huge impact on Romania. Michael is changing many things when it comes to innovation, and all included in innovation, as you will see. So So it's really, we are in the same story, and it is very important to try to create these networks that raise above our individual endeavors, because your success is gonna depend of others so much at this point in this market. These networks will attract talent, will disseminate knowledge, will catch capital. It's really in all of our interest to stay in touch and be together. Thank you so much. And yeah.
Thank you very much, Lorena. So we'll ask some questions on the floor. So if anyone's got a question, please feel free.
Lorena, thank you so much. It's obviously great to have you with us today, and so we appreciate that, and thank you for the excellent presentation. There's a lot of young people in the audience, and I think there's a lot of curiosity about how healthcare innovation happens and what can be done to accelerate it. So you've touched on that a little bit. I just wanted to ask you to elaborate, please. What are a few ideas that you have regarding what people can do to accelerate innovation in healthcare? The example of how rapidly some of the immersive technologies have been developed and then gotten deployed, I think is a good example. But any other ideas you'd like to share with us on that, please?
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you for the question. Well, I think that when you have an idea in digital health, I think you have to really understand and engage, map your stakeholders and engage with them. And I think Michael is going to speak to that better than I will ever do. I think people still assume a lot when they go into innovation. And in healthcare, it's often not a good idea to do that. So the first thing you need to learn also your beneficiaries, but also, who is going to use your technology, who might potentially use your technology and why. So you really, really have to do your homework and work the ground. And second, I think, as I said, don't look to reinvent the wheel all the time. If there are solutions out there that you can integrate and plug in, to not try to replicate, duplicate all the time things that are out there. I think trying, integrating something that is already good and good enough for your innovation, it accelerates your progress. And, it creates connections that can help you further your work. And always pay attention, go to events, ask people, ask for connections all the time, engage in the field, because the market is changing rapidly, regulation is changing, mindsets are changing, things are still in the making. Did I answer your question? Kind of.
Thank you. Going forward, any other questions? What other people are thinking about things? So I agree, for young people it's about networking, it's come to these kind of events, getting immersed in technology, innovation, ecosystem, finding ideas, etc. That's the kind of message we've been passing on. Now, I came to ICFest last year and I really enjoyed it. I love the madness of the Romanians and the kind of energy behind you guys. So I guess going forward with these kind of Eastern Europe, I consider Eastern Europe as the hub now of technology. Whether it's Bulgaria, with Plarmans, Webbit, whether it's you, ICFest. So what is it about Eastern Europe that currently is generating so much interest in digital health and innovation? What is it? I mean, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, well, I think there is many of the countries around, like Greece, Romania, Poland, are going through some turmoil in terms of healthcare. People feel that healthcare there should change for the better. So that's one of the drivers, the need creates change, need creates innovation. And another drive, I think, is the fact that in healthcare you have a good combination of public and private healthcare. So there is this competition that everybody's trying to either improve or attract patients. But I also, another thing which is more subtle and I can't prove it, but I know it and I feel it, is that for too long, perhaps, countries in Central Eastern, people in Central Eastern Europe kind of looked to Western Europe or US like, you know, like big brothers, you know, like some, but now I think that there is a new blood, if you want, a new generation that is bolder, that wants to do things, that, you know, they trust their capabilities a bit more. And last, the ecosystem started to kind of mature, if you want. As I said, there are angel investors that, you know, are becoming active in their own countries. So they do look to get engaged with the ecosystem locally. So this infusion of money from, you know, VCs, but also from local investors help quite a lot at the moment.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? If not, well, I'd like to say a big thank you to Lorena, and a round of applause for Lorena, who's come a long way to speak to us today. Going forward, as you know, the next talk will be my friend Michael Sellers at 11:30, and often in these conferences we don't involve patients enough. I'm a surgeon, I still practice medicine, and a lot of health tech is sort of caught up in innovation, in technology. We sometimes forget the most important person, which is the end user. And Michael's going to address that whole issue. Michael's unique in that space, so he's a fantastic speaker. He's got a wonderful, wonderful story and a journey to share with all of us. So come back at 11:30 to hear Michael's journey where he's talking about technology and innovation. So see you at 11:30.